Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is a chapter related with the organizational change and stress management. This is very important, uh, related with when we're talking about the stimulants to change and contrast planned and unplanned change. The factors related with the list of forces resistance for resistance to change, and then we have to compare four major approaches to managing organizational change. Then we have to demonstrate two ways of creating a culture for change, and then we discuss a bit about stress and the consequences related with the stress and how individual and organizational approaches to managing stress. When we're talking about forces for change, so the nature of the workforce, greater diversity, technology, faster, cheaper, more mobile. Nowadays, technology is rapidly changing in this turbulent environment. When we're talking about economic shocks, uh, this is nowadays there are so many people and there are so many articles available on COVID-19. People discussing about the COVID-19 and the pre COVID-19 situation and now the the COVID situation and now the post-COVID situation. The world is changed, the economic pressures, the oil prices in Pakistan, the dollar prices increases due to the instability in our rupee, in our currency, and then the gold prices goes up and down. Sometimes goes up so many high prices, and now the prices are fluctuating. The gold prices are also fluctuating. The dollar prices are also fluctuating due to the instability in our economic situations. So these are the economic shocks, then the competition, global marketplace. After the COVID-19, there was a lot of issues that has been faced by the academic and as well as non-academic industries. In academic industries, people are now facing online education, and the universities have a major challenge because those organizations or those universities who are prepared for the online education, they are working on the online education. And mostly those organizations who did not work on the online education or on the online infrastructure, they are lacking behind uh, in the competition. Social trends. So this baby boomer retirements, an old concept, but nowadays when we're talking about nowadays the major issue or the major trend is related with the generation X, generation Y, and generation Z. People are mostly talking about these three generations nowadays. World politics, uh, there is no more Iraq war, and the nowadays you say that the Russia and the Ukraine war, the tensions between economic tensions between China and Pakistan, related specifically related with the CPAC, uh, others situations related with the world is stand with the Ukraine, and some of the countries specifically like Pakistan, China, India are neutrals on the stance of this Ukraine. Specifically, all European are with Ukraine. So, plant change is change making things different. Plant change activities that are proactive and purposeful, intentional, goal oriented activities. So, Thing is, when we're talking about plant change, so plant change is more proactive and has a purpose, an intentional goal-oriented activity. The goals of the plant change, improving the ability of the organization to adapt to changes in its environment, changing employee behavior. There's so many things when we're talking about a plant change. There are multiple reasons. It's depend on the organization structure. It's depend on the organization needs. Change agents, persons who act as catalysts and assume the responsibility for managing change activities. To all those individuals who are working as the change the dynamics of the organization, they are basically the change agent. When talking about plant change, so there are also a resistance to change. Resistance to change appears to be natural and positive state. Forms of resistance to change, overt and immediate, voicing complaints, engaging in job actions, implicit and deferred, loss of employee loyalty and motivation, increased error or mistakes, increased absenteeism, deferred resistance cloud, the link between source and reaction. So these are some of the challenges related with the when we're talking about the resistance to change. Sources of resistance to change is the individual, habit, security, economic factors, fear of the unknown, selective information processing. Organizational is basically is linked with the structural inertia, limited focus of change, group inertia, threat to expertise, threat to established power relationships, and resource allocations. So these are some of the elements related with the sources of resistance to change. So when we look into the structural inertia, the structural inertia basically is related with there is a you can say that limitations, some of the constraints with the organization that they cannot adapt the change. They don't have the facilitations to adapt the change. To you can say that go for the change process. So this is the one of the thing. The group inertia is basically group cannot understand the importance of the change. This is one of the reasons. The threat to the expertise, uh, this is be related with the when organization has a kind of a mindset when we are going for the new structure, there might be threats for the existing system. So they we have already whenever organization is going for the change, so the current system is in you can say that related with the minimum. We can say that the underlying structure that people cannot feasible, people cannot comfortable with the new system because of the change requirement, because of the structural requirement, because of the education requirement, because of the skills requirement. So there's so many things that might be the reasons. Then going further, the tactics for overcoming resistance to change is education and communication, participation, building support and commitment, implementing change fairly, manipulation, co-optation, selecting people who accept change, coercion. So these are some of the tactics for overcoming the change. Then the politics of the change, and then the Lewin's three-step change model: unfreezing, movement, and refreezing. Uh, the unfreezing the status quo, driving forces, restraining forces. So these are some of the elements which is related with the change factor, the change element. So for the examinations point of view is concerned, uh, these parts are very important and you have to go through with these elements. You need to discuss with me. So I'm not including the part of the work stress in your course because it's not added in your scheme as well. Uh, the only part that is included in your scheme for the someone examination point of view is concerned is the change factor or the change part is included in your in your scheme for the summer semester. The action research and then as well as quarters 8 step plan is to implement change, establish a sense of urgency, form a coalition, create a new vision, communicate the vision, empower others by removing barriers, create and reward short-term wins, consolidate, reassess and adjust, reinforces the changes. So these are the quarters 8 step. Driving forces and restraining forces is driving forces that direct behavior away from the status quo and restraining forces that hinder movement from the existing equilibrium. So you people just go through it, just read it, and if you have not cleared about the other things, so you can directly contact with me, so we will discuss it in a detail as well as. Thank you very much.